Hello, I'm ReAnn Gonzalez with Edge Home Finance. And if you're receiving this video, then chances are you closed a mortgage with me recently. I hope all is well with you and your new home. Today, I want to go over filing your homestead exemption in El Paso County. Before you begin this process, make sure you have updated your driver's license to show the new property address. Okay, so now let's get started. You're going to come to this screen here. We're going to come over here to property search, and then this is where you will put in your property address. So I'm going to put one in just so I can get into the system. We'll go ahead and pull it up. And then it will take you to this next screen with the information. Your information should show here unless you recently closed and it hasn't been updated. You're going to come over here to Property Services and click right here. Then we're going to come to this screen where we see Apply for Homestead, and that's what we're wanting to do. So we're going to click Apply for Homestead. We're going to start filing our homestead, and then it goes through some instructions for you. As I mentioned earlier, your driver's license does need to match this property address before we file this homestead exemption. Make sure you have that taken care of. If you're active duty service, then there is an exception where you can provide your military ID and a copy of the utility bill showing your name on it that you are occupying the property as your primary residence. They will accept that in lieu of your driver's license. They here list how they'll accept the documents. You can do PDF, JPEG, any of these formats, the documents that you're going to upload a little bit later. Here it's stating please not do duplicate submissions, and if you're a disabled veteran, there's a link here that you would click on. But first, we need to do our homestead exemption, and that's what we're here for today. So we're going to click Next here, and then we're going to check your current exemptions. So once you file this exemption, you're one and done. You don't have to do it every year. It is just the first time, and then it'll carry out as long as you continue to occupy that property as your primary residence. If you wanted to check the exemptions on a property, you could click here and put in the address. But we're going to move forward and get our homestead exemption filed. So here we're going to scroll down. The year that we're applying for. So it's the year after you purchased the house. So for instance, if you purchased a house in 2023, then you are applying for the 2024 homestead exemption. The law states that you have to own and occupy the property as of January 1 of the year you're applying for. So purchased the house in 2023, lived in it in 2023, you owned it and occupied it January 1 of 2024. So that's what we're going to mark there. If you purchase a house in 2024, then you would put you're applying for 2025 because you did not own and occupy the property as of January 1 of 2024. So 2024 is out. You'll apply for 2025. Your property ID will automatically carry over from the information you entered earlier. So that's taken care of for you. Are you filing for a late application? So if you file after April 30th of the year that you're applying for the exemption, then you're going to mark, yes, it's a late application. But as long as you apply before April 30th, then you're going to mark no. So for instance, let's say that you're applying for the 2024 exemption. As long as you file before April 30th of 2024, then it's on time. So you're going to say no. If it's after April 30th of 2024, you're going to mark yes. Now, if you're qualifying or you're filing for the 2025 exemption, you have until April 30th of 2025. So if you purchase your house anytime in 2024, you're applying for 2025, you have until April 30th to file that homestead exemption. Do you own or live in the property for which you are seeking this residence homestead exemption? You're going to mark it yes, because we're here to file our homestead exemption. If you're not occupying the property as your primary residence, then you're not going to complete this homestead exemption. This is only if you're occupying the property as your primary residence. Then we're going to go down to exemptions. Here are the exemptions that we can apply for. General homestead exemption is what we're here to do, so everybody's going to mark that. Then if you are a disabled person, you'll mark here. So you would do general homestead and disabled. If you're over 65, you're going to go general homestead and age 65. If you're 100% disabled, again, general residence homestead and 100% disabled. So it's general homestead exemption plus whichever of these that apply to you. If none of the other ones apply to you, then you're just going to do your general residence homestead exemption. Does the address on your ID or driver's license match the address? You're going to mark yes, because we took care of that right before we started the process, because you are going to have to upload that here in a minute. Cooperative housing, you're going to mark no. Were you receiving a homestead on a previous residence in Texas? So if you had another home that was your primary residence, and you sold it or decided to rent it, it's now an investment property, you're going to mark yes. If you did not own a home in Texas that had a homestead exemption, then you'll mark no. Are you transferring an exemption from a previous residence? If you had a previous residence and you're transferring, maybe you're 100% disabled and you're transferring that exemption over to this one along with your homestead, you're going to mark yes, you are transferring it. Are you transferring a tax limitation? You're going to mark no. And then over here, we're going to have property owner applicant. If you purchase the home solely by yourself, you're going to mark single adult. If you purchased it as a married couple, you'll mark it here. If you purchased it as others, so let's say a mother and daughter purchased a house together, you're going to mark other. Or if it was a boyfriend and girlfriend, you're not married yet, you're going to mark other. Then the name of the property owner will automatically populate from the information. You're going to put your date of birth here, your driver's license or social security number, your primary phone number, your email address. And then down here, you're going to mark the percentage of ownership. So if you're single, you purchased it 100%, there's no other owners, you're the sole owner of this property. If you purchased it as a married couple or as with other, you're going to mark 50. If it's just two of you. If it's more than two, then you're going to take the percentage of ownership. So if there was 3 of you, then it would be 33%. If there was 4 of you, it would be 25%, and on and on. The address will automatically populate over from what we did earlier and continue that information. Date you acquired the property. So you're going to mark here the month, day, and year that you closed on the property. Then here, you're going to mark the month, day, and year that you began occupying the property. Now, if you put on here that you began occupying the property after January 1 of the year that you're looking at purchasing the property, then chances are they're not going to give you the homestead exemption for that year. So you do want to occupy it by December 31st so that you're eligible for the homestead exemption on January 1. Is the applicant identified on the deed or other recorded instrument? You're going to put yes, because if you're filing this homestead exemption and you just purchased the property, then your name is on the warranty deed, and it's also on the deed of trust that I helped you with. So you're going to go ahead and mark yes there. Is the property for which this application is submitted an heir property? If you purchased it from an estate, a family of your own estate, you inherited the property, then you're going to mark yes. If you purchased the property not from a family member, you didn't inherit it, then you're going to mark no. Is the property a manufactured home? I'm going to say no because I didn't do any manufactured home loans this year. Is any portion of the property for which you are claiming a residence homestead income producing? So what this means is if you have acreage, let's say, and you have pecan trees and you are farming those pecan trees, or if you have cattle or animals or something and you are producing income basically on this property because you are farming or whatever, you're going to mark yes. Otherwise, it would be no. And then down below that, they want to know how many acres that you own and occupy as your primary residence. So if you own 2 acres or 2.5 acres, you're going to mark on there how many acres it is. If it's no and there's no acreage, then you just leave that blank. Then we will come on down here and we're going to provide any additional information if you have any notes you want to give to Central Appraisal. And then right here, you'll upload your documents. You're going to click on the browse. You're going to pick the document that you have saved on your computer to upload into the system for them, whether it be a driver's license or utility bill or your disability letter or whatever it is that you're providing to them. If you own other properties in Texas, they want you to list the counties here of the other properties. And then you're going to work through signing the information and certifying everything that you did below. So here, I went a little too far here. So you're going to put your property owner, your name, if it's just one, 2, you're going to put both of your names there. And then you're going to type your signature or draw it, put the date that you're filing it, and then you're going to come down here and submit. Now, before you submit, if you want to preview a PDF and maybe save it or print it, you can do that. But then make sure you hit the submit button because it doesn't take effect unless you hit submit. And then it has information here. If you have any questions, you can reach out to them on it. And that's about it. So please make sure you do this right away and don't forget, because it can affect you drastically on your mortgage payment. I had a client a few years ago that called me and said, my payment just went up $500 a month. And it was because they didn't file the homestead exemption that I had asked them to. The lender had to upfront extra money because their escrow was shortage for 1 year, and then they doubled it for the next year to make sure they had enough money in the account. You just don't want to go through that. I'm not saying that you won't end up with a higher tax bill by filing this. There's a chance that taxes could go up and your tax bill will go up, but it won't go up as much as if you didn't file this. So this will give you a discount. It'll help you on your property tax bill. Plus, it'll protect you from creditors. And we want to make sure that that's all taken care of. I hope you found this information helpful. As I mentioned, if you purchased and are occupying the new property as your primary residence, it is very important that you complete this process before the April 30th deadline. If you have any questions about this video or anything pertaining to mortgage or real estate, please feel free to reach out to me, as I am your lender for life. Lastly, I do have a huge favor to ask. If you have any friends, family, or coworkers who are needing help with a mortgage, I would really appreciate it if you would share my information with them, as my business depends on referrals from clients just like you. Wishing you many years of happiness in your new home. Thanks and have a great day. Bye.